Keeper of the Lost Cities, Neverseen. Chapter 29. Surrender is your only option, Counselor Emery told them, his eyes looking as dark as his skin and hair. Once upon a time, Sophie had counted the spokesperson for the council among her advocates, but she heard no trace of compassion in his velvet voice. "We designed this trap most carefully," he said. "Nothing was missed, including your inflicting ability, Miss Foster." Sophie unclenched her fists, but held fast to the frenzy she'd been brewing. "How are you going to stop me?" "Counselor Bronte will. Should you attempt to inflict, he will be obligated to respond. And we are confident his power will overshadow yours." Several counselors nodded, though a few looked apologetic. Surprisingly, Bronte fell into the latter category. For months, the sharp-featured, pointy-eared counselor had fought to make Sophie's life miserable. But something had changed between them now, and she believed Bronte when he traced a hand across his cropped hair and said, "I am bound by my oath. If forced, I must protect the council, regardless of how distasteful it may be." "Distasteful?" Counselor Elena scoffed. "Look around you, Bronte. These children were attempting to steal a prisoner from exile." "A prisoner you should have pardoned weeks ago," Fitz argued. Counselor Elena sighed as she tucked her wavy, caramel-colored hair behind her ear. "Clearly this is your mother's influence, Mr. Vacker. She's hiding here somewhere, isn't she? Don't worry, we'll find her." It was no secret that Counselor Elena had tried to stop Alden's wedding, begging Alden to marry her instead. Alden had dodged a bullet there. Though she hadn't been as bad when she was principal of Foxfire, the power of being a counselor had gone to her head. "I feel you trying to invade my mind, Emery," Mr. Forkel said. "Having any luck?" "Enjoy your last moments of anonymity," Counselor Emery told him. "They will soon end rather dramatically." "Perhaps." Mr. Forkel twirled the ring on his finger, and terror boiled through Sophie. "Not yet," he transmitted. "All is not lost yet." He must have sent Dex and Fitz the same message, because they both straightened, neither looking particularly reassured. "We knew you would use Miss Foster to rescue your associate," Counselor Emery told them. "And we knew we could leak enough information to draw them out here today. But I must say, I never imagined you'd be foolish enough to come along." "I could say the same for you," Granite told him. "All 12 counselors out on a mission, and without their goblins? Our bodyguards exist to make our opponents underestimate us." "But you do not look properly intimidated." Counselor Emery glanced over his shoulder. "Would you mind, Claret?" A bronze-skinned counselor stepped forward, her silky black hair swaying with each swish of her hips. She reminded Sophie of a volcano goddess, and the comparison made Sophie brace for some sort of earthquake. But all Claret did was part her lips. The sound that came out wasn't elven or human. Sophie wasn't entirely sure it was earthly. The clicks and clattering sounds fluttered, sounding like a dolphin crying as a million dragonflies attacked. "That's it?" Dex asked. "That's..." His voice trailed off as the ceiling rumbled. Mr. Forkel pulled Sophie to his side while Granite grabbed Dex and Fitz. The 5 of them barely got out of the way before a dozen massive boulders crashed into the room. No. Not boulders. Boulders couldn't uncoil, or stretch 8 feet tall, towering over them with hundreds of writhing legs. "Arthroplegia," Counselor Emery said. "Remarkable, aren't they?" Sophie remembered learning about the giant, supposedly extinct arthropods in her human science class. "I think they're plant eaters," she told her friends. "True," Counselor Emery agreed, "but that doesn't mean they're defenseless." He pointed to the long antennae jutting off the creatures' heads. The ends had forked points, glistening with some sort of clear slime. Counselor Claret clicked again, making all the Arthroplegia drop to a ready-to-pounce position. "Polyglots," Mr. Forkel grumbled. Sophie met his eyes. "No, you cannot control these creatures," he transmitted. "Claret is arguably the most powerful polyglot our world has known, and has hundreds of years of practice." "And this is merely one of our defenses," Counselor Emery warned. Sophie studied each of the counselors, realizing how little she knew about many of them. She didn't even know most of their names, much less their special abilities. But it seemed safe to assume they were all absurdly powerful. "It's time for you to use your emergency pendant," Mr. Forkle told her. "I'm not going to abandon you." "Yes, you are. I have no intention of surrendering, but I can't have you here for the fight. I'm ordering Dex and Fitz to do the same." "What about Keith, Bianna, and Della?" she asked. Almost on cue, Counselor Emery turned towards the door. "It looks like the rest of your group has arrived." The line of counselors parted to allow Squall, Blur, Wraith, Della, Bianna, and Keith to march into the room, followed by a group of dwarves. Keith's eyes went straight to Sophie, and she could see the panic he was trying to hide. Even more troubling was the state of his cloak. Huge chunks of fabric were missing, along with one of the sleeves. Sophie doubted there was enough left to protect him in the leap. Worse still, Della and Bianna no longer had their escape pendants. "I'll find a way to spare them," Mr. Forkle transmitted. "You must leave now." "I'm not leaving my friends." Bianna screamed as one of the Arthroplura hissed at her. Keith pulled Bianna behind him. "Yo, guys, I hate to break it to you, but giant bugs are so last year. All the cool villains are threatening with ogres now." "We are not the villains," Emery snapped. "Are you sure?" Granna asked. "Threatening children seems rather villainous to me, as does leaving a damaged prisoner in a cell without so much as a bed." "Brave words coming from a talking rock," Counselor Alina said. "Do you honestly expect us to take you seriously in these disguises?" "We do indeed," Squall said, tilting her frozen head. All 12 counselors' circlets crusted with hour frost. "We can do tricks too," a female counselor said, holding out her hands. Electricity sparked from the edges of her fingertips, tiny lightning bolts filling the air with static. "You're not honestly going to electrocute us, are you, Zarina?" Mr. Forkle asked. "There are different levels of shocks." She made the air crackle until their hair stood on end. "Leap away now!" Mr. Forkle screamed in Sophie's mind. But Sophie wasn't going anywhere. She let the fury in her heart swell and surge, filling her with a rush of churning energy. She didn't care if Bronte would inflict on her. She could handle the pain. She could... "Run!" Dex shouted, flinging a copper cube into the line of counselors. The gadget exploded in a mist of green putrid smoke that burned like rotten jalapenos. The counselors hacked and wheezed, and the Arthroplura scattered as Dex charged into the fray, hurling a second gadget that filled the room with loud squawking. Dex yelled something to Sophie, but she couldn't make out all the words as he placed a third cube in the center of the room and scrambled toward her. Blinking lights in the corners flashed like a countdown, but before it reached its end, Counselor Zarina zapped it with her lightning. She probably meant to fry the circuits and shut the device down, but the gadget absorbed the energy instead. The metal turned red hot, and the lights on the gadget started flashing and beeping a whole lot crazier as smoke curled out from the top. "Everybody get down!" Dex screamed. The room was too loud to hear him. Too many other things happening. The only person who noticed was Fitz. He lunged for the cube, grabbing it with a yelp of pain as he raced for the door and flung it away. The gadget launched into the hall, but even with the distance, the explosion flung Fitz backwards. He flew several feet before crashing down, right on the antenna of a charged Arthroplura. Sophie screamed as the bar pierced Fitz's chest and snapped off clean. He crumbled to the floor in a convulsing heap.